with the automakers as we await word from the White House on whether or not they will use some of the TARP money, right, the Troubled Asset Relief Program money, $700 billion fund, to help the automakers. Certainly one town that hopes the Wall Street takes action is Kokomo, Indiana. That is a town. It is the, I think, 13th largest city in Indiana. It is home to a Chrysler factory as well. In fact, 2 Chrysler plants, and that is where we find Jeff Flock in Kokomo, Indiana. And he joins us now. Jeff, what do you got? Who do you got? You always have somebody interesting to talk to.
They both make yeah, well, I always try to, anyway, because I'm not very interesting myself. So there you go. They all make transmissions, those 2 factories. I've got the mayor of Kokomo, and I'll tell you, Mayor, good night. I want to just back you up here for a second, because I'm looking at the Indianapolis Star today. The headline is Chrysler's woes hit Indiana hard, and the headline story is from Kokomo, because nowhere gets hit any harder when it comes to Chrysler. You've got 2 plants here, and that's your biggest employer by far.
Yeah, Chrysler's our largest employer. We have about 85,000 people in Howard County, employs roughly about 5,000 people here in the community.
So the hit is tremendous if, for example, you were to get a bankruptcy.
Yeah, well, yeah, and my concern is when they talk about bankruptcy, I don't think people look at the implications that go along with that. Bankruptcy basically protects Chrysler from its creditors, and I think there'll be large repercussions. There'll be vendors and suppliers that will feel the effects if they do allow them to
In addition to the people in the basement of this union hall, we're 685, local 685, UAW 685. We thank them for letting us come on in here. Perhaps you see some of the retirees, workers. Hey, Rick, you want to come over here for a second? Rick Ward, this fella here, talked to us earlier today, and, you know, he really has a good sense of the workers, and I want to put you together with the mayor. I know you guys are friends. I think they're friends. I don't know. Give us a sense from a worker perspective of what the impact is when you say shut your plant down for a month when you weren't expecting that.
Well, it was just stunning, for one, because we just haven't had a month off in so long. You know, we didn't even have down weeks here. As far as the impact on the workers, I mean, we are fortunate. We do have a subsystem and our unemployment, so our pay is not affected greatly, but still not 100%. And when you're not making full money, you're not spending full money. So that's going to be the impact on the community.
And what do you do, Mayor? You just took office here within the last year, and you get this in your lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're feeling a lot of the pain that's going on throughout the country, and in some ways, depending on what happens with the automotive industry, may feel even a stronger impact.
What do you do as a mayor for the workers that Rick represents and the rest of them? I mean,
well, right now, we're trying to get our message out. Myself and some of the other leaders throughout the state, other mayors, the Senator By's office, we're putting on a summit next Monday to try to educate the public, let them understand the financial impact of if we fail to help the automotive industry, and that's what we're trying to do, is educate.
In addition to the workers that are on right now, or there's some on layoff, there's some, like these gentlemen over here, some of these guys are retirees. What happens? I mean, if you've got a bankruptcy at Chrysler, what happens to retiree benefits?
Well, I think it depends on what the bankruptcy is, but
right.
in no case do we think bankruptcy is the answer, not for the community, not for the company. If it was, I guess, a Chapter 13, then the pension benefit guarantee and what have you. Right, you know, so it could affect them greatly as well with the health care costs that they would incur if they no longer had that.
If you don't, right, exactly. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And when you know, this is such a huge employer in the town. You got a town of what, 65,000 people?
Yeah, just under that, just a little bit.
And you've got 5,000 roughly employed, over 5,000.
Yeah,
and that's 65,000 men, women, and children. We're talking 5,000 actual workers.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, we're a regional economy. We have people that live here in Kokomo that work elsewhere and vice versa. But yeah, basically that's what we're facing with.
And before I get away, I just want to get your take. We've got reports this morning of potential GM Chrysler combinations that was thought to be off the table. What does the average Chrysler worker think about the idea of merging with General Motors?
Right now, we're very concerned with that General Motors would probably only want to keep the Jeep division. We have nothing to base that on, just what we feel like as average workers, which would be a huge impact here in Kokomo. We do build the automatic transmissions for the Jeeps, but we're not selling enough of them to sustain the whole local.
I hear that. I'll tell you, Mayor, good night. Appreciate it very much. Rick Ward, appreciate your time, gentlemen, here in the Union. Thank you so much. As we try to continue to put a face on it, Brian, best way we can, to let you know what the impacts of these big decisions that are being made elsewhere.